Hey, gang. Probably gonna be going it alone tonight, so probably won't be on here very long. But I did want to. Sorry, there was no intro as well. I was busy with work and stuff today, and then at the last minute, I thought, oh, I haven't done an intro. Hey, Blissful, for I Know What You Shot on Video, which is a new series that I'm going to start that's going to alternate on Thursdays with Seductive Poison, The Resurgence, where I do the triple threat review shows. So, premiering I Know What You Shot on Video tonight. And I am going to be talking about, in case you weren't aware, I'm going to be talking about Boarding House and SledgeHammer. And I'll tell you, if you have not seen either one of these films, they got to be seen to be believed. That's all I'll say. And there is a 3 hour version of Boarding House, but okay, I'm just going to be honest. I wouldn't recommend that 3 hour version unless you're a glutton for punishment, in which case, yeah, I guess you'll love it. Um, so I remember the first time I saw Boarding House, and that was oddly enough, I don't think I had seen it before. Steve sending me a copy to watch, and I kept falling asleep during it. To be totally honest, and every time I woke up, there was this flashing red light and this weird noise that was going on. I have managed to sit through it without falling asleep since then. Steve and I have watched it together, I think, more than once. But it does have John Wintergate. I don't think that's his real name. Um, but he and his wife did a few films together, including they were on Terror on Tour together as Mod Girl and Mod Boy. His wife was also a singer called Colossu, I think is how that's pronounced. Um, so the story is, and it's not a really complicated story at all, is John Wintergate plays the landlord of this boarding house, and basically he only rents to women. It's kind of like the crawl space scenario where Klaus Kinski was only renting apartments to women. So John Wintergate, he's this weird kind of kinky guy. Well, you may have saw the picture for the thumbnail for the stream where he's sitting in his underwear, cross-legged on his desk, doing some kind of tantra stuff or whatever whatever he is doing. But he looks very weird. And he has that weird look on his face several different times in this movie. So the boarding house, the house that he's living in, and he's renting out rooms to these women, um, is I don't really know how to describe it. I mean, it starts out like it's a slasher film, and then it moves into supernatural territory, and nothing really makes sense in this film. So it's probably not going to be for everybody. But there's just enough wacky stuff in this to keep me interested. Would I recommend it? Yeah, yeah, I think so. I would recommend Boarding House, not the 3 hour cut. Don't watch the 3 hour cut, especially not your first time out with this movie. Um, but it there's sleazy parts in there are slasher parts in it. Um, we have a lot of gore, a lot of sex, some chainsaws, pie fights, killer refrigerators, jacuzzis, beds that eat people, a new wave band called 33 and a third, and a leading lady known only as Colossu. And again, that's John Wintergate's wife. It's the first, supposedly, it's the first shot on video horror film to be blown up to 35 millimeter. And let me tell you, that's not a good idea. It's never a good idea to take a shot on video film and blow it up to 35 I can't talk, millimeter and show it in a theater. This movie actually was. So this movie was put out on, yeah, you guessed it, I got it on Blu-ray, from AGFA and Bleeding Skull, put this out. And I believe it's Vinegar Syndrome that actually puts out this labels videos, um, or DVDs and Blu-rays and all that. Um, it does have the ingenious tagline where the rent won't kill you, but something else will, which I do like. I think that definitely was a ploy to get people to rent this back in the day and even to go to theaters to see it as well. Um, but the wackiness of it, that is really the main reason for watching this. It's not really a good horror film, but it's entertaining despite the fact that it's not good, because there's some crazy stuff that happens in here. And I have mentioned some of that crazy stuff. So I wouldn't watch it if you were already tired, because you might end up going to sleep like I did the first time I tried to watch this movie. Um, but yeah, I would recommend it for at least one time watch. You may watch it and never want to see it again, possibly. And that's okay. You know, sometimes all we need is a one time watch of something, and it's something that we can continue to talk about for years and years into the future. Um, but um, it's not necessarily something that we want to watch too often. And Boarding House definitely fits the bill on that. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and give a rating on this one. Um, and I'm going to at least give it a 3. Because, I consider it watchable. I don't consider it unwatchable. Now, blown up to 35 millimeter, it might have been literally unwatchable. But watching it on a smaller screen at home, you definitely can get you out of Boarding House. And so I'm not going to totally write Boarding House off, just only to tell you that if you're looking for a great film, this ain't going to be it. But again, is it a fun film? Yeah. Yeah. It's wacky and it's fun. And you just want to see what John Wintergate's going to do next in this film, or what's going to happen to these ladies that are staying in his boarding house. Um, so, and guys and gals, whoops, I didn't mean to hit that again. There we go. Um, Guys and gals, I know that this is going to be a really short one. Hopefully, the next one I do, I can have one or more people on here with me, and it'll be more entertaining than just me on here. But the next one I want to talk about is SledgeHammer, and I'm guessing there's no Blu-ray or anything of this. The DVD was the only thing that I could find, but from Intervision. Okay, Steve likes to call this movie Revenge of the Closet Kid. A few years back, we did a commentary for it, and it definitely is Revenge of the Closet Kid could be an alternate title for this movie, because it starts out showing this kid who's obviously abused by his mother. His mother locks him in the closet, and Yes, Russell. Thank you for bringing that up. That was very sad to hear about Donald Sutherland today. My mom actually told me that she was talking to me on the phone, and she said Donald Sutherland died, and I was like, oh man, because I've always loved Donald Sutherland in films, in any film he was in, basically. So yes, thank you for reminding me of that, Russell. Uh, so the mother locks this poor child in a closet and goes back to her lover, and this is like one of the most pathetic love scenes I've ever seen on film. And if I'm remembering correctly, the guy appears to have a woman's house coat or a woman's robe on in this, and I was like, what in the heck is going on here? Is it some kind of kinky sex thing or what? So somehow the kid is able to get out of the closet and kills his mother and her lover with, you guessed it, a sledgehammer. And so then we fast forward to a group of young people who are coming to the house where the boy killed his mother and her lover with the sledgehammer, and evidently it's haunted. Now, I never was able to understand how the young kid turned into an adult with this weird mask on, but I guess why ask why, right? So, this film is directed by David Pryor and stars his brother Ted Pryor. Um, and Ted Pryor, believe it or not, I'm not saying he's a bad looking guy or anything. He was a former Playgirl centerfold, by the way. David Pryor also did Killer Workout as well. Um, this is supposed to be the first shot on tape slasher movie for the home video market, as well as one of the rarest genre films of all. Now, I did not realize that because this is a film that I've heard about on and off for years. And maybe it used to be, rarely heard of and nobody talked about it or watched it. Um, but it has the most shots of people walking down a path and the most scenes of the outside of this house or outside of any house that I've ever seen. And again, though, it just has enough wackiness and WTF moments in it that you just have to go along for the ride. Russell, you say you love Sledgehammer. It's on YouTube. Yeah, I thought it was on YouTube. So if you haven't seen it on at all and you're interested in seeing it, then as Russell said, it is on YouTube. It's only 85 minutes. I mean, just shy of the normal running time for the time that this movie came out. And basically, this group of people that come to this haunted house basically are offed by this. Sometimes it's the kid with the sledgehammer. Sometimes he morphs into an adult with this weird mask on and kills people with the sledgehammer. But in any event, you know why this movie is called Sledgehammer. Um, and so I will say that both of these films um, don't have a lot of plot to get in the way, as Joe Bob would say. They don't have a lot of plot to get in the way of the story. So they're pretty straightforward, but they're wacky and they're entertaining. And before I forget, I do want to give a rating for Sledgehammer. Um, I'm also going to give this one a 3. I'm just basically feel the same about both Boarding House and Sledgehammer at this point in time. because there's some wackiness, there's some entertaining things in this, but then there's also some boring ass shots in it. I ain't even gonna lie. But I still have fun with it. I will continue to have fun with both of these movies in the coming years. I don't see myself ever reaching a point where I won't watch these. Right. So I also wanted to, before I get off here for the night, I know, guys and gals, this was really, really short. But like I said, I didn't really have anybody else on the stream with me to help me discuss these things. Um, but the book that I'm going to be pulling these movies for or from for these streams is a book called Analog Nightmares by Richard Mogg. It's shot on video horror films of 1982 to 1995. So I guess I could tell you guys what the next two are going to be that I talk about. Hold on one second here. So I will be talking about Blonde Death, and if I can find it, something called The Bleeder from 1983. The Bleeder from 1983 and Blonde Death also from 1983. I believe Blonde Death is the longer of the two. Yeah, Blonde Death is 98 minutes. The Bleeder is 80 minutes. So I won't actually be doing that next week. Next week we'll revert back to Seductive Poison, The Resurgence. And I will be talking about a couple or reviewing a couple of films on here for that. And then the week after, of course, we'll be covering Bleeder and Blonde Death. So I hope Blissful, Russell, whoever else is watching that may not be chatting, I hope that you have enjoyed um, this premiere or debut or whatever you want to call it of I Know What You Shot on Video. I hope you guys will continue to tune in for these as well as Seductive Poison, The Resurgence. I do want to remind everybody that not tomorrow night, that tomorrow during the day, um, oh, thank you, Blissful. I appreciate that. I know this one isn't as good as it could be if I had some other people on here with me, but sometimes it's just not possible to have, sometimes it's not possible to have a huge crowd in here, and sometimes it's not possible to have anybody other than myself on the streams. But that's okay. It's all good. Um, I can consider this a short review show this week. But tomorrow at 11:45 a.m. Eastern Time will be another Terror Time Tea. I haven't yet picked the movies that I'm going to be doing for Terror Time Tea tomorrow morning. However, I will be guaranteed to be drinking some tea. I don't know if I'm going to be having a snack with the tea, but I definitely will be drinking the tea tomorrow night. I keep saying tomorrow night, tomorrow morning. And then Candace and I, be sure to tune in for Friday Foolish if you can at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Me and Candace will be doing a taste test, our first ever taste test. I've got a couple of things I'm going to be tasting for the first time around, and Candace is going to have some things that she's going to be tasting for the first time around. So be sure to tune in for all of that tomorrow. The return of the movie munchies and the watch alongs. Still don't know what I'm going to be doing the movie munchies on. Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun live too, Blissful. But the watch alongs for Saturday's watch along will be Deliverance starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And Sunday's watch along, also starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, will be Southern Comfort. So be sure to tune in for all of that upcoming. And thank you, Russell. Russell says, so great, Dana. And I'm off like a dirty shirt, as Ducky says from Pretty in Pink. And as always, I want to remind everybody to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic night, folks, and let's have a kick ass Friday and groove on into the weekend. So I will see you guys next time.